Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. Glad to be here with you guys on a beautiful Tuesday here in the Chicagoland area. It seems as if we are celebrating Indian summer. The weather today is so much better than it was the beginning of the week, and it's supposed to get up to 80 degrees on Saturday. So that's that one last chance for you guys to stay safely, social distance, maybe do that last barbecue of the season, put up your Halloween decorations, whatever the case may be. This coming Saturday, we're expecting temperatures in the 80-degree range. All right, very good. Well, I have another great show for your viewing and listening pleasure this evening. It's Give Back Tuesday. And so tonight we welcome to the show the Salvation Army. Here in the Chicagoland area, the Salvation Army has already started their bell ringing campaign, but due to COVID, they've had to pivot and figure out other ways of raising money. And now more than ever, more people are in need of funding and so resources and things like that. So the Salvation Army will be here with us tonight to talk about their programs and campaigns and what we can do to help them out. And then later on in the show, we have a Chicago icon joining us. Actor Harold Dennis will stop by. Harold has over 20 years in the acting business here in Chicago and in Hollywood. Harold has been in just endless amounts of films, and he also is an acting coach at Second City here in Chicago. We're going to talk to him. And then tonight, he's brought along a gentleman that we are just honored to have joining us. Filmmaker Mr. L. Arthur Bay will join us tonight. And he is currently, he has a project that is running on Prime. And it's a pear-shaped. And when I say to you, it's really good. It's thought-provoking. So both of those gentlemen will stop by later on in the show. And we'll talk to them about just COVID in the movie industry right now. You know, movie theaters are closing down because of lack of business and the release of new films. It's just sad in many different ways. Well, our co-host this evening is no stranger to the show. He's been here with us many times before as a co-host. He's a mental health expert by day, turned digital media co-host at night. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show our good friend, Mr. Philip Montgomery.
Hey.
Hello, Philip.
How are you, sir?
How are you?
Good.
I'm actually good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you as well. How's your mental health doing? How are you feeling? Have you been taking care of yourself?
Well, Philip, I'm so glad you asked that. I almost feel like this is a free mental health therapy session whenever we have you on the show. That might be part of the reason. I'm so glad you started tonight's show off by asking that question. Philip, I've been having a lot of anxiety lately because of the actions of our president.
Of course.
Thursday night, here I prepare to go to bed. And I'm going to tell you the funniest thing, Philip. Seth Meyers was actually on when the news broke. And so I'm one of those people that I kind of get into bed, and you know how you kind of in the twilight, you listening to what's on the TV, but you kind of falling asleep. And so I heard Seth Meyers interviewing some celebrity about some, series or whatever. And I thought it had turned into a joke about the president having coronavirus.
Of course.
So I froze for a minute. I picked up my glasses because we can't hear without seeing. You gotta put your glasses on to make sure you just heard what you heard. And so I said, the president and first lady has coronavirus. Like, really? And the next thing I know, when I woke up the next morning, all hell broke loose. And then the 72 hours after him going to Walter Reed Hospital up until last night with that dog and pony show that he did when he got out the hospital. Yeah, my nerves are on edge, Doc. They are. I need all kind of help. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's watching this show that feels, damn, what the hell is going on?
Well, I'm sure it's not, it's the country. You've got a man who, he was elected into the office. And there's some questions as far as whether or not he's really telling the people the truth. And it's a struggle. And then when you watch what's happening, unfolding at the White House, and he is the one steering the ship, it's not just concerning, it's scary. So many people in that White House that he runs, where I do believe he bullied and harassed people so that they wouldn't wear masks, even against their better judgment, they did not put the mask on. Now you have all these wonderful people who are also coming down with the same thing, and he makes light of it. But imagine the mental anguish that they're struggling with. You've got somebody like Chris Christie. That's the last person that needed to be exposed to that, given I'm sure he's got an underlying condition or two, and his weight. All of these people trying to help him. But then some say, if you are a spiritual person and you believe, this is some sort of a wake up call for all of them, hopefully they will see that you can't do all this dirt in the dark and not expect something to come out in the light.
Philip, the more we look at this situation, the crazier it gets. And here's the mind-boggling and insulting part about all of this. You and I both know people who have contracted COVID.
Yes.
And survived. I even know somebody that got it twice and has survived.
Oh,
I,
bless
I,
him.
I have a dear friend right now who I said yesterday on the show is in a rehab center. I call and talk to my friend in detail today about every step. And my friend said to me, listen, if you'd have called me 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to talk to you. He said, I am impressed. I'm even able to talk this long with you now,
Exactly.
but I'm on oxygen. And he said, I would never wish this on my worst enemy.
No.
And he said, for me to be sitting in a rehabilitation center and watching the news, and the president is walking around talking about, don't be afraid, don't be scared, it's all good. He said, man, this is frightening to me and the other people who are in these nursing homes, because now, rehabilitation, because we're now wondering what the hell is really going on with this.
Well, you have to remember, the hospitals couldn't keep all of the people who would unfortunately come down with this, and part of the treatment plan or the discharge plan, as we heard about the president, is after they get you to the point that's considered stable for the condition. Many people do go to nursing homes, they go to rehab facilities because they still need support. They still need oxygen. They still need those steroids that the president is on. They still need those regimen treatments that they need that they can only get possibly while they're in a facility like that. But so many of these people are in isolation. You can't have your family around.
No.
If you people can't come visit you in the nursing homes, they'd already stopped that, and they definitely can't come visit you if you have it. So here you are by yourself, afraid, and then you look up on TV, and a man who has access to medical care that none of us will ever know what it's like to have goes in for something that basically, because of his negligence, if you ask me, now of course I don't know, but and from the way it looks, it's his negligence. He came down with this virus. He was able to go to some place like Walter Reed. He was able to take advantage of compassion medication that most people don't even know it exists, because you're not going to get it. And he goes
Philip,
in.
I was told that it is over $3,000 a dosage.
Yes.
It's over $3,000 a dosage. And
So
whose insurance gonna cover that?
and the people that have the kind of insurance that will cover that were the ones that were in that White House with him. So when you start looking around at all the people who have lost loved ones, who prayed for just an extra couple of days in the hospital, basically was at the point where the decision had to be made. Do we continue? Is this really helping? What can we do medically that we haven't done already? And some people have just expired and not had enough time. Maybe if they had more time, maybe if their insurance had carried them longer, maybe if they had been able to be pulled out by a helicopter and taken to Walter Reed, they would still be around. And his lack of compassion for what others have gone through, the 200 and some odd thousand that are no longer with us, that have died, not dying, they're dead, never will be back.
No.
probably were planning to do something for Christmas,
Oh,
Thanksgiving,
absolutely. Who who
didn't
who
get to,
who plans their death? You get what I'm
right,
saying? Right. Yes.
especially in 2 weeks, because basically they're telling you if you get it and it's your time, it could happen in 2 to 3 weeks. Once you're put on that ventilator, the struggle is immense, and the people around you, you are relying on so many people to help you survive,
Right.
and your will to survive, and the doctors and the nurses. It takes a lot, and still many people have not made it. Yeah, a
No.
lot of people have survived, they have, but
Mhm.
one person dying in the way that this death takes place is one person too many.
Most of the people that we see leaving the hospital on news programs, they are leaving in wheelchairs. Those people look as if they've been in the hospital. They're either emaciated or
Oh yeah.
just not as vibrant as they should be. And what I love is the number of people who have given parades and celebrations. And you'll see people at the hospital cheering people leaving, but these people still look like they're on the road to recovery.
They are.
He left Walter Reed yesterday patting the damn handrail, like nice handrail, and
But
walking, and then
remember,
took his mask off. I just
but remember, you've got a showman. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna go back to the days of Ringling Brothers,
Ooh,
Barnum and Bailey Circus.
come on now.
So, like they say, a sucker is born every day, and that's what he counts on. He counts on the
Mhm,
fact that somebody will see him and
mhm,
believe that his toughness, his manliness,
mhm.
his whiteness is what pulled him to the part where he was able to survive this with no signs of distress. But let me
Well,
tell you, as they keep saying, it's about 10 days. And in my daytime life, I know that it can look okay for a few days. But as those days wear on, you may not be in the clear. And remember, he's taking a steroid, which is suppressing a lot of the symptoms. And it's a significant steroid that's
mm.
suppressing a lot of the symptoms. How long can that go on?
Amen. All right. Well, with that being said, and Philip said it best, P.T. Barnum once said, there's a sucker born every minute. Well,
That's right.
let me give you all the latest Illinois update on COVID, and we'll see if anybody else wants to be a sucker. Because I'm telling
That's
you all,
right.
don't fall for it.
No, please don't.
Right.
Please don't.
Illinois health officials announced today 1,617 new known cases of COVID-19. Unfortunately, we had 32 additional fatalities in the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of infections here in the state of Illinois to 305,011, with a
Oh,
statewide death toll now of 8,836 since the beginning of this pandemic. Officials have reported 49,513 new tests were taken in the last 24 hours, and our 7-day statewide positivity rate is 3.4. So if y'all want to be a sucker and fall for whatever this man is saying, that's on y'all. But don't think we didn't warn you on this show that this is nothing to play with. This is nothing at all to play with.
and really, the one thing I would like to say, and this is on a real serious note, is that if you question how you feel, or if you question what anybody is saying, don't just talk to one doctor. Call a couple. Stop in CVS, to stop in a pharmacy, stop in a drugstore, go someplace and ask professionals who have experience. Listen to what you're hearing. Read, Google, watch the news. But if one person is trying to sell you on something, which is what this man is doing to try to get back in office, you really have to wonder, what does he really think of you anyway?
Mm-mm. Well, all I know, the shenanigans of that hospital visit was enough for me. Well, early today, Mayor Lori Lightfoot and other city officials are thinking about putting Indiana back on the warning list.
Hmm.
Indiana is dangerously high with their COVID rates, and I know y'all want to go get them cigarettes, that gas, that alcohol. I'm guilty of going over there getting
Me
things
too.
across the border as well too. But you just never know if that cashier is handing you the Rona back in exchange for your change or the money you gave. So be very careful. Now, Indiana is not back on the list yet, but they are at a very high warning level right now
Mhm.
of being banned. And so I think Alaska has also been added to the list as well too.
Which is
So
amazing to me. But yes,
yes, yes. All right. So just keep that in mind, you guys. Well, Chris, we have Philip, we have just other heartbreaking news. One of my favorite restaurants, Ruth Chris Chicago, is closing.
that's horrible.
They will be closing their doors very soon. You just said, this is a tourist city. This is a city for conventions.
Oh
This is
yeah,
our steakhouses here are top notch. And so now we're going to lose Lowry's Prime. Ronnie's Steakhouse has gone out of business. And
really?
now, oh yeah,
Wow.
Ronnie. Oh, you didn't hear? Oh yeah, Ronnie
No.
Steakhouse. Look, everybody know Ronnie Steakhouse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right,
that's a.
right,
Oh,
right. I thought a tear just came out your eye when I
it
said
did.
Ronnie.
I thought about the McVickers right there. Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes. Ronnie's Steakhouse is going out of business, and now Ruth Chris. So I look at it like this: Mother's Day next year gonna be a mess because everybody want to take the mama there, the daddy there, or birthday, graduations, big dinners, things like that. They going under, and they took some of that PPE money, or is it what PPE? Yeah, yeah.
That money, right?
Yeah, they took some of that money, but after they got so much backlash for taking the money, they gave the money back, and now they're not able to stay afloat.
But the cost to go to one of those steakhouses for dinner is roughly for two people about $200,
Oh, absolutely.
and the cost of the merch of the goods is not cheap either.
Mm-mm.
Those are prime cuts of meat.
Yes.
And I'm sure they have to pay their suppliers or guarantee their suppliers a certain amount of business to keep the meat coming their way.
Mhm.
And if you've got nights when you just put in a few steaks in a styrofoam container, waiting for somebody to pull up, you then pop the trunk and you drop them in there. That's not the same way it used to be if we went out on a Friday and you didn't have a reservation to go there,
Oh,
and it was over the summer, you better go over there to the Rock and Roll McDonald's because you're not gonna get in there.
that's right. You're absolutely right. That's one of those places. How dare you walk up? And I
Right.
don't care how famous you are.
Even Lawrence.
Right. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes, I
Lawrence
agree.
was a huge place. I mean, it had been a mansion at one time, but it could see. There's no way that place could have stayed open.
Mhm.
It will be years before that type of business comes back.
I agree with you 100%. Well, another tragedy here in our city, we found out today that Second City is up for sale also.
Oh
The
my goodness.
iconic building, which is at, what is that? North Avenue and
And
Wells.
Wells,
North
yes.
Avenue and Wells. The building is up for sale. And, that puts another, damper on theater and theater going. I love going to all of our theaters here in the city, but if there are no booties in them seats, baby, nobody's coming to the theater. So
And then remember, Second City, for those who have been in there, you're truly cheek to cheek, and I mean both sets of them. So you're used to being so close that they could never do that again. But the sad part about that is, they had one of the best rooftops in the city on top of Second City,
mhm,
and that place had figured out a way to make it work, and that's
mhm.
unfortunate. That's really quite sad.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, we have tragic news to share in the entertainment world. Legendary guitarist for Van Halen and the founder of Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen, passed away today at the age of
Mm.
65. His son, Wolfgang Van Halen, what a name, uh,
That
announced on Twitter that the rocker had been battling cancer and that he passed away. Van Halen is a Dutch-born American musician, songwriter, producer, and innovator. Uh,
hmm
he died of throat cancer,
Oh
and
wow.
He was the main songwriter and founder, along with brother and drummer Axel Van Halen. The bassist was Mark Stone, singer David Lee Roth,
Roth.
and yes, and they became quite the group. And so Van Halen ranked number 20 on the list of best-selling music artists of all time with 56.5 million units sold, and
Good
that was
Lord.
certified by the Record Industry Association of America. And my favorite song was Jump by Van Halen.
Yeah, it's a lot of them, but you know what he was most famous for? Marrying the sweetheart of the world, probably back in the late 70s, early 80s,
Uh,
Valerie Bertinelli.
yes, yes,
Yeah, so
yes, yes.
wow, that's something else.
Yes, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, his son maybe by her?
Yes, that's
Okay,
Wolfgang is her son, their son.
yes,
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 yes.
Wolfgang. So yes, our condolences to Valerie Bertinelli and all of the members of Van Halen, and the son Wolfgang. And boy, that's really really sad. And you know what I'm trying to think? What other great guitarists do we have left? George Benson is still around. Uh,
Okay.
Carlos Santana is
Oh,
still here.
he's still kicking. Yeah,
Uh, is,
he's
Pe- is,
amazing.
Peter, is Peter Frampton still? He's still with us.
I think he's still with us.
Yes, yeah, but other than that, I mean, true great guitarists like that, that's hard to
Wow.
come by.
Well, in songwriters, I think that even whether you like rock and roll or not, and theirs wasn't the heaviest of rock, but it was a real popular upbeat rock that really was a soundtrack for a lot of people in the 80s. And I think that he wrote a lot of good music. You don't have people that are capable of writing music like that anymore.
Mhm.
A lot of it lacks the sincerity, and that's why he was able to stay around such a long time. And
Mhm.
sounds like he made a whole ton of money if he wrote that many songs.
Buddy Guy is still around.
Oh yeah,
Watika just
definitely,
remind us of
definitely.
Buddy Guy. Yes, Buddy Guy is another legend who's still with us. We love Buddy Guy. All right, well, let's move on. My girl, the incredible Miss Dolly Parton, will be turning 75 years old, and Dolly Parton wants to pose for Playboy.
Gives a whole new meaning to "Here You Come Again."
No, Jolene, right?
Jolene, that's right.
She trying to prove to Jolene, you
Oh,
not
she
gonna
already
take my
proved to
man.
Jolene.
Yeah, but she forever letting Jolene know, look, heifer, you can't take my man. Mama finna lay my 75-year-old bourgeois down
Oh yeah,
and let them lay a staple in the middle of my
middle.
stomach. And y'all getting ready to get all my goodies. Well, she did say that she wants it tastefully done, but
Oh
that she
really?
definitely wants to do a centerfold at the age of 75. Now, what do you think? I mean, she is a timeless classic. So, I mean, I don't know.
Not only is this is my take on Dolly Parton anyway. Dolly Parton is a businesswoman and an entertainer. The woman is worth about $500 million, singing and writing all those amazing songs. Um, this was a strategy of hers because she's mentioned it periodically over the years. So she's been waiting to do this.
Mhm.
And I am sure that she has had her body crafted, if you
Oh, I'm
will,
sure. I'm sure.
for this day. And
Right.
it is the best that it could be. And
Hmm.
like she said, she knows who she is.
Hmm.
She's, and let's be honest, she has laughed all the way to the bank.
Yes, she has.
So when it's all said and done, she's got a roller coaster and a park to go home to when she feels like it. So I think that I didn't know Playboy was still around, but
Right.
I admire the fact that she's ready to pose.
Well, you know what, Philip? That's so funny that you mentioned about her amusement park.
Mhm.
Dolly was the first person to jump on Black Lives Matter when all this went down this year, as well as Dolly was the first person to change a lot of the naming of things at her amusement park. Like if she had the hillbilly mashup or whatever, she changed that. Or if it was some plantation type of thing at her, because the theme of her park is Southern charm and all
Well,
that.
I have been to Dollywood,
Yes.
and I can say that that's good. But if you ever went, even before she changed the names, it's Dolly Parton. It's just camp, you know.
Right.
So even though some might say it's great that she changed the names, coming from her, you didn't feel that it was offensive even when you saw where she
Oh
called
no,
stuff.
no, no, not at all. We just love and adore Dolly Parton, and she actually, I think, has a holiday album coming out. So we have to talk about that.
Ah,
Yeah,
ho
but yeah,
ho ho.
I guess so. And look,
Yeah.
Jolene, don't take her man, Jolene. She
But
finna lay out in Playboy to prove to you, Jolene, that she still got it.
but when you think about her music, I mean, when you think about the songs, when you think about the song Whitney Houston covered, the
Yes.
woman has written some amazing songs, and they're still popular. They still resonate. The message is still as powerful today as when
Mhm.
she wrote them 40 or 50 years ago. It's just
Right.
amazing.
You are absolutely right. Wait, we're supposed to see more of the chat over my head. I'm sorry. All right. So let's continue on. Trump continues to downplay COVID-19, which has killed more than 210,000. No, yeah, wait a minute now. I can't even get it together. 210,000 million.
Mm-hmm. 210,000 people.
210,000 Americans so
That's
far.
right.
Right. I'm looking at the numbers wrong. And
Right.
so today he falsely stated that the seasonal flu kills more people than what corona has killed, which is not true.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's another thing, Philip. He got to go back to work as the president.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well,
I had any inkling of COVID or any problems like that, would nobody let me return back to the job? We've had so many people on this show who have made statements about how they lost their jobs due to pre-existing health conditions. People have made statements about having COVID and their jobs trying to get rid of them. I just don't get this part.
I'll say this. What I find most disturbing is given the number of people in that White House that have come down within the Joint Chiefs of Staff and all this stuff. Um, why is it that people just won't walk away? He couldn't get me to come back up in that White House. If I had made it clear and didn't have it, that quitting that I've always wanted to do on the voicemail is how I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's a sad thing to say that there's still something wrong with our culture where, and I don't want to say the majority group is just so desperate to remain in control, but people are dying from this.
Mm-hmm.
And the young lady who's his mouthpiece, who would come out and say some horrible things to people, who now has come down with it herself. I'm not even talking about her. What if she's visited her mother or her in laws or her grandmother or the lady at the grocery store or the lady at the dry cleaners? These people, so many people are in their sphere that they have probably, I don't want to say contaminated, but they have unfortunately probably exposed many people to
Mm-hmm.
COVID. And for what? So they can work for this man who obviously shouldn't be in that position.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Philip, you know, every night on this show, we do our best to advise people what they should be doing. You have your mask tonight, Philip.
I do.
We want to remind everyone to please wear your mask. See how easy and simple that is, you guys. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Yep, there you go. See, Philip got his. I got mine. It's very good. All right. Another thing, we want you guys to sanitize. Soap and water is the best thing ever. Please use it. Use it often whenever you can. If you cannot get the soap and water, try some hand sanitizer. Just
Definitely.
do it like that. Just rub it in real good. It's rough on your cuticles, but it is very good for keeping you safe and clean. Do that. Social distance. Social distance is super important. Get back. Don't get up on people. Stay off of each other. Do whatever's necessary. And Philip said it a little bit better than what I say on this show, but you guys know what I say on this show. If you're not feeling well, keep your ass at home. Stay in the
Yes.
house. Stay in the
Yeah.
house. Don't go anywhere. I guarantee you, I say it all the time. You just pick up that telephone and say, hello, I'm not feeling good. Baby, they'll tell you no problem, no issue. We'll send you your check. We'll direct deposit it.
And
I'm
they
telling
will
you
not
now.
even ask you when can you come back. They will ask
Yeah,
you to call them when you are ready to return.
yeah, that's right. They not gonna sweat you, bother you, any of that. And so just do that. Now, if you guys want to be like me and be even more fashionable and more chic, I have taken on this method now. And so this is a part of my haberdashery. See, Philip?
Yes. Oh my
See,
goodness.
see, right. See,
Oh well, I
and
have I
I
have it.
even wear I cover my hair sometimes, and so I just look like a ninja. Is that
Right.
what they would say? I look like a ninja.
And I think the way people, like you talked about the anxiety in the beginning, and that is real. And I think a lot of people are struggling because we are beings that are used to being around other people, having contact, whether it's casual or real close, intimate contact, family, friends, people on the job. I just think we have entered into a season where we're going to have to stay on course and keep in mind that it will pass, but
Hmm.
it's not going to pass right away. And we don't have a right to say when it's going to pass.
No,
We
we
just
don't
have
know.
to, we just need to know that great minds are working, not the one that's in the White House, but great minds are working to really make it so that our future will be there for us. So for now, maybe you're staying at home a little bit more. Get a can of paint if your finances allow you to do so. Maybe you've been meaning to paint the bathroom. Try to do it. Maybe you've been meaning to touch
Well,
up some things. Maybe you've been meaning to throw out some clothes that you haven't worn since the disco era. Whatever
yep.
you needing to do, try to bring some joy into your own home because this is a season and we have to get through this season.
Well, Philip, let's look at how God blessed me. The paint on the wall behind me was $7 oops paint at a hardware store.
There you
And
go.
who knew that I would have to turn a room in my home into a studio? And it
Right.
works. It works perfect. I'm getting ready to do some more accoutrements soon to make it pop a little bit more. But who knew a $7 can of Oops paint would be my new backdrop for my studio? And I just love it. So I mean, you're right. It now more than ever, you can pick up a hobby,
You have to.
learn a foreign language. You may even want to be more spiritually connected to yourself right now. There are many things that you can do to redirect your energy during this time. And guess what? The pivot is not always a bad thing. It's not. If you know.
No, and that's what I mean. It's a lot of our children are at home, and I do mean our children are at home, and hopefully a lot of their parents are available to them, or a caregiver is available to them.
Hmm.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this: while the kids are studying math, the caregivers need to be sitting right back listening to whatever the kids are doing on TV if they can. If
Hmm.
if they if they're not engaged in something else and they have a few minutes and calculus is being taught or something about the computer is being demonstrated, while you got the kids at home, stand there and see what they're doing. Maybe it's something that'll benefit you. That when we pass through this season, you too will have picked up some extra skills, and that's really what it's about. This is
Yes.
time to take stock of of the way the world is, and we always say we want better. We can have better. We just need to start looking inward and making some tweaks on ourselves, and that way
Yes.
when this season passes, we'll be in a better state of mind. We will have really had a chance to spend more time with the people that we love, whether it's by Zoom or on the phone. those
Hmm.
visits those visits will be more sincere because we
Yes.
now know that tomorrow is not promised. We
Which
now
is true.
understand that
Yes.
tomorrow is not promised.
Very good. Well, I love it, my friend. That was great words of encouragement for everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, or should I say the real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. Glad to be here with you guys on this beautiful Tuesday evening here in the Chicagoland area, wherever you're watching us from. We really do appreciate you. Our co-host tonight is my good friend, mental health expert, Mr. Philip Montgomery. He's been here tonight to help us with some of the anxiety and stress we've been having with everything that has been going on with COVID-19, our country. It's election season. Don't forget, 1 month from now is election day. So I need for you guys to get to your polling places. Early voting is taking place in a lot of places across the city and the country. Well, here in the city, downtown, and across the country, other places have early voting. Make sure you do your due diligence and vote. But a month from today will be election day. It is Give Back Tuesday. And our our next guest this evening, I'm excited and honored to welcome to our show. I'm a huge fan of the Salvation Army. In years past, I was a celebrity bell ringer down in front of Macy's for a number of years. I'd be down there ringing my bell, Philip. I'd be ring my
All right.
bell. I'm, doing what I can to help the Salvation Army. For many of you, you may not know what the mission of the Salvation Army is and what they exactly do. I was telling you guys earlier on in the show that they've now had to start their bell ringing campaign earlier, as well as they're not going to have as many people out on the streets due to the coronavirus pandemic. And so tonight we welcome to the show the newly installed Lieutenant Colonel of the Salvation Army Metropolitan Division. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Lieutenant Colonel Richardson. There he is. How are you, sir?
Glad to be with you this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is a pleasure to have you here, Lieutenant Colonel. Congratulations on your new appointment. And how long have you been associated with the Salvation Army? And then for a lot of my audience who may not be familiar or have not heard about the Salvation Army and its mission, please recap us on that.
Well, my wife and I have been Salvation Army officers for almost 40 years. And so we've had a long history of being Salvation Army officers. In fact, this is our third time being in the Chicago area. We started our ministry here in Chicago in Evanston, Illinois, almost 40 years ago. I grew up in the Salvation Army, so I've had a long history of working not only with the Salvation Army, but helping others through the Salvation Army.
Oh, wow. That is so incredible. And so it's so much we need to talk about. The Salvation Army actually helps every aspect of our city. Is that correct? Like the Salvation Army has its hand on pretty much every zip code in the city, correct?
Correct. The Salvation Army is covered throughout the Chicago area. As in fact, the metropolitan area, the Salvation Army provides service. And never more so than during this pandemic season. The Salvation Army has been providing everything from emergency shelter to food assistance and helping individuals in local neighborhoods throughout the Chicagoland.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lieutenant Colonel, you've been on the front lines of battling for many years to help people to live better lives from, drug abuse, substance abuse, homelessness, you name it. But we did not see a pandemic coming, so you all were already doing great work. And now let's throw in a pandemic. Let's throw in a large amount of unemployment. People are losing their places to stay. What has it been like at the Salvation Army in just the last 8 months?
I would say in the last 8 months, almost daily, things are different based on the needs that people have. The pandemic, as you've said, no one saw or forecast a pandemic in 2020. But what we did know already is that we had people who were hurting. Pandemic exacerbated the hurt, especially in our communities. Black and brown communities throughout the United States was hard hit by the pandemic. Many being deemed as essential workers, actually putting their lives on the line just to have what little sense of normality we had taken place, making sure that happened. And so we've been serving people who have been just struggling, trying to make it during this time. And so I would say that for the Salvation Army, we have been salvation to a number of people.
Hmm.
I love it. Philip, you have a question for him?
No, but I can tell you that I had the privilege of working for the Salvation Army for a brief period of time in my career. And I really got a chance to travel around with a lot of your great people and see the wonderful work that you do out in the community, helping people who I think without the Salvation Army, I don't know what they would have done, because homelessness in Chicago is definitely no joke. And even though we jokingly call it the Windy City, this is not a place to be without somewhere to stay.
Yes, that is so true. And we know that there are individuals every night who are looking for a place to stay. And the Salvation Army tries to let them know that there is hope and there's a safe, warm, or cool place out of the elements, a place where you can receive a meal,
Hmm.
a place where you can also receive services if you are addicted
Hmm.
or you're in an abusive situation. We have a shelter that have women and children and other individuals of abuse. And so oftentimes it is a place where no one wants to be, but we're glad that there is a place for us to go in those times when we all need a helping hand.
Well,
Mm.
I do have one question, because what amazed me during my time there was the level of compassion that I saw coming from each and every person that worked for the Salvation Army during my time there. How do you train people to have that? Because it's just do you think that the people, it's a calling, or is there something about your training? Because I saw some things that showed a generosity of spirit that I wish could be shared with the rest of the world, so we could maybe have some of that in government too.
Yes.
That is true, and I part of it. Individuals like me and my wife and other Salvation Army officers, we attend one of the four Salvation Army seminaries in the United States. In fact, for the Chicago or the Midwest area, it is located right here in Chicago on Addison, near Addison and Brompton Avenue.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and so I often say you can't train people to care. I think when people see hurting people, within most of us, and just there's a sense of compassion that we exhibit toward other individuals. And I thank you for your time being part of the Army. We're not an Army, I always say, because of people wearing uniforms. We are Army because people take up the cause. And
Yes.
instead of a gun, you might have a bell
Yeah. That's right.
out there,
That's right.
and you're acting on behalf of an army that is fighting the war against hunger, that's
Hmm.
fighting the war against homelessness, fighting the war against abuse, fighting the war, frankly, against hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really a lot of that's a lot of the challenge, because I saw a lot of people who were struggling. The substance use is the problem is gargantuan here. I mean, there's just no way to say that it's a little something. And watching the effect that it had on families, and so many families were homeless because of it. It's just a hard thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In fact, that's how I was introduced to the Salvation Army. My mother worked for the Salvation Army for 41 years and
Mm.
started as she was working for the Salvation Army in a abuse center for women.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a time years ago when individual called the police and they were involved in a domestic dispute. The police simply either took the wife to a family member, or when there was no other place, it was to the Salvation Army. And I
Mm.
remember being a young teenager and seeing individuals come into that shelter door, in their very eyes showed a sense of hopelessness and fear.
Hmm.
And my mother often would put her arms around someone and say, "You're safe. You're okay now." And to
Mm-hmm.
me, my young mind, that was what the Salvation Army was. Later
Mm-hmm.
on, is what I wanted to give my life to and be a part of.
I think that is so beautiful. I want to talk about what can we do to give back. And the way I always do on my show, Lieutenant Colonel, is talk about the free things we can do first. And then I promise you, I'm going to do a great song and dance for you for those that can give that money later on. But let's talk about, clothes donation, food. I mean, for those, our economy right now is bad. Our president just said today he didn't think there would be another stimulus package until after the election. And the way I look at it, that means many of us will be eating figgy pudding this year for Thanksgiving, So what can we do free from our hearts to help? And then I'll help you get the other part. I promise you that.
Well, I think running at the bottom of your screen, there is some information about how to donate. I always say in the Salvation Army, we accept time, talent, and treasure.
Mm.
If you have time, you can go to one of our centers and volunteer. We desperately need volunteers as we enter into the holiday season. Everything from helping to prepare a food box for individuals or helping to distribute them at one of our locations. If you have a talent for something, I'm sure that you can share that talent with a group of children at our shelter or one of our other locations throughout the metropolitan area. And certainly, if you have treasure, you can donate online. I mean, we have social distancing donations. So
All
you
right.
can go to your computer or website or even on our kettles and simply donate without touching anything, that so someone else this Christmas, as you talked about, or holiday season, will have a meaningful remembrance of this year without all of the other things that we have to worry about, both our health and safety.
Hmm.
Very good. All right. So now I want to get to the kettles, which in
Yes.
years past, it would be just so much fun to come down and stand in front of Macy's and ring the bell and run into my friends, and I would guilt and shame them if they didn't drop anything. Well, it's persuasive. If they didn't drop anything in my kettle, I would call them out. A great time for a great cause. But now you guys are actually out earlier than
Yes.
before. And because of this pandemic, you've had to pivot. Let's talk about the whole Red Kettle campaign now.
Yes, this year our message is help the Salvation Army rescue Christmas, and rescue Christmas for those who are really depending on us this year. Oftentimes, those who have donated in the past, in the last few months, have come to us for assistance. You will see red kettles throughout the area, in front of grocery stores, jewel stores, and other stores throughout the metropolitan area. Go up and donate. Either you will see, if you have a smartphone, you can simply point your smartphone either at the um, code that's there and donate, or there's a device, if you have an Apple phone, I think, and an Android, where it take you directly to the site and you can make a
Mm.
donation.
Mm-hmm.
But by all means, even say hi and thank you for those who are giving of their time and talent on our kettles this holiday season. It's going to be like one that we have never seen probably in our lifetime.
I agree.
As people are struggling, as you've said, it seems doubtful if individuals will receive another stimulus check.
Yeah, it's heart wrenching. It really, really is. I was telling my co-host Philip that in Canada they're getting $2,000 a month to stay
Mm.
afloat during this time. And Philip and I were both, he was saying, well, that's why Canada's not letting us up there either. They're taking care of their people. So imagine the number of people who were struggling pre-COVID and
Yeah.
now are faced with a pandemic as well. It has got to be mind-blowing in many ways.
Yes. I think we need to remind people today we may have something, but there's no guarantee for tomorrow for any.
No,
And so we must act in a humane way to those who are struggling during this time. And
Mhm,
one of the ways is to help. If you don't have the money to give, volunteer.
mhm,
definitely. Yes,
mhm,
yes.
We have numbers of individuals who simply want someone to listen to them. And
mhm,
so there are a number of ways that you can be a blessing to someone else simply by taking the time to show them you care.
Mm.
mhm. You're absolutely right. Well, Lieutenant Colonel, before we let you go, give us the website again. I am gonna help you guys out this year. I promise. I'm gonna work on something towards the holiday so that we can make sure people have something good. And I'm just so honored, really, to see someone who has risen to such a high honor as yourself and your wife. Please let her know that we
Thank
thank
you.
her for her service, and just your entire family has been so committed to the Salvation Army, and it's just beautiful in many ways. So go right ahead and give us the who, what, when, where again, and then I'll give all the electronic stuff at the bottom of the screen.
Okay. Well, like you said, we're starting early this year, so don't be shocked when you see a kettle or you hear a bell out. You can go to the Salvation Army at www.salvationarmychristmas.org and you can donate there or volunteer. Sign up to take a slot and help us to make Christmas a happy place for those who are hurting in our community. The Salvation Army provides assistance 365 days a year for countless of individuals in our community. And
Mm,
so we say thank you to our army of people like you who are getting the message out to your people throughout the area to come join this army, an army where you can make someone smile and make a difference.
All right, I'm gonna reiterate what's going on at the bottom of the screen. If you guys feel so benevolent, and I have a great audience, you guys do the right things. I need for you to text the word SAL. S as in Sam, A as in Apple, L as in Larry, Army, ARMY, Chicago, and you're going to text that to 51555. Again, that's 51555. That's the way you can text. And now, Lieutenant Colonel and Philip, this next thing I'm not going to be able to say because, I have one of them things that listen to you in your home. And if I say, hey, so and so, make a donation, she might shout back, you ain't got no money right now. What is you giving for? Ain't nothing in your bank account. But you can also shout out to that female assistant in your house, make a donation to the Salvation Army, and your device will make a donation. I just can't do it on mine right now because she be talking about your rent is due. You can't do that. So yes, very good. Well, Lieutenant Colonel, it has absolutely been a pleasure to have you here this evening. Philip, you have closing remarks for the Lieutenant Colonel.
Again, I hope in the future that I will have another opportunity to spend some time with your wonderful group of people and enjoy ministering throughout the city again.
Well, I invite you to come on down. Tell them Colonel sent you.
I will.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
you got some power, Colonel. You're right. I think you're right. If I show them, look, I know the man. They'll probably help me out. So yeah.
All right.
Well, Colonel, God bless you and your family. Thank you so very much. And as I said before, I am committed to helping you guys again this year virtually, and I look forward to this and any other things that I can do to help you all out.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing us to spend some time with you this afternoon.
My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Richardson with the Salvation Army Metropolitan District, correct? Did I get that?
Correct.
Division. I did. Yes, sir.
Division.
All
Yes.
right. Well, thank you so very much and have a great night. Okay.
You
Good
too.
evening.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Man, that was great, Philip. Look at that.
Yeah,
See
it
that?
was.
See that? See there? Give Back Tuesday. That's what we do here on the show. We try to give back to as many people as possible. This is a free show I do. Well, not free, but free. It is. It doesn't cost you anything. The only thing I ask you guys to do is go to YouTube and subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show. Easy, simple, free. That's what keeps this show free. I want to improve the show in many different ways, but the more people who follow me and the bigger my numbers are, the big people will help to sponsor my show. You've got to build these numbers up. You got to build these numbers up. Philip, what else you need to talk about? This has been good so far. That was a great segment.
That was a great segment. And again, they do some amazing work. And I did get a chance to see it firsthand. So to your audience and that little voice in the background, if they can throw a little change their way, it's all for a good cause. I packed many of those boxes, and I know they're trying to feed a lot of people.
Yep. I had to be careful though, because if I holler out, "Hey, so and so," and she'll holler back, "You ain't got no money right now. Don't be right." So yeah, so I got to.
This is only the 6th of the month.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was gonna holler it out, and and I'm starting to get worried about my little device here at my house, because these little devices be knowing too much. Talking about, I can help you with that. I'm like, you can't. Right. No, back down. What the president told the rude boy or the Proud Boys, stand up and stand back, or
stand back, or stand by, or stand
whatever it is. All right. Doggone mess. It really is. All right. Well, coming up on the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show, tomorrow night I have another great show. We're only doing an hour-long show tomorrow night. As you guys all know, tomorrow night is the vice presidential debate 2020, the first one between Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Say that 10 times too fast.
Right.
And Republican Mike Pence, from
the vice president.
And the vice president. So tomorrow night they'll be going toe to toe in Utah. There are new rules set up for the debate tomorrow night. There are even shields being put up. The debate will be taking place at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll do a 1-hour show tomorrow night. Kay Renee is my very special guest co-host. She and I will get you guys together for the debate tomorrow evening. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have a wonderful segment that you guys should enjoy. We're going to talk to the newest generation. We're going to take a glimpse into Gen Z. Tomorrow night, we'll talk to 2 young Black sisters who are both Gen Zers. I had brunch with these ladies recently, and we're going to talk about everything from the upcoming election, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, and they're even going to give their thoughts on COVID-19. So these young ladies, we're going to have a great conversation tomorrow night. Yeah. Latika said, instead of Siri, I got Shamika. Yeah.
There you go.
Mine's be talking about, you ain't got no money. Your rent and phone bill due. So you can't shout out no donations right now. So I appreciate you for that, huh?
Well, chat, what I love is when Siri starts telling you what to put out, what to put back in the refrigerator, and that's too much. You don't need that.
Right. Yeah.
But I got to ask you, what's this age range of Gen Z? So, because that tells you I'm so far away from it, I have no idea.
So look, when I was doing the radio show, we were all about the millennials.
Right.
The Gen Zers are the ones that would just now be turning 21, 22.
Oh my God! Okay.
Yeah, they that young group. I'll have the numbers of when they were born tomorrow night, but they're that young. They're recent college graduates. They are grown. They look good. Everything is sitting right on them, and they fabulous. But if you sit down and talk to them, they have the same problems that we have. And you know, and a lot of times it's a disconnect in, you know, our conversations and all of that. So they'll be here tomorrow night. Kay Renee will be a perfect co-host for that 1 hour show tomorrow, 7 to 8 p.m. And then we'll get ready for the 2020 vice presidential debate.
And that's going to be that'll be amazing too. I think that's going to be an amazing experience just to see Kamala just explain the difference between what the president is we have, and what the president should be.
Well, all I know is that what we witnessed a while ago, we cannot see that again. And rumor has it is that he's planning on being at the next debate against Joe Biden. And to my understanding, if you've been diagnosed with COVID-19, you must stay sequestered for what, 14 days?
For 14 days, and even with the 14 days, that's an average. I mean, that's about where the science says that's the place you want to be. But Trump is not going to be able to do that. As a matter of fact, he shouldn't even go and expose Vice President Biden to that this early in it. That's why I was really concerned when they were making fun of Kamala requesting the plexiglass shield between her and Vice President Pence. But Vice President Pence has been in that house with Trump. The woman that is his right hand has had it, I believe, and she has a right to protect herself. I don't know why it is that bullies never want you to do what's best. They want you to do what's best for them.
Oh, but that's anybody. That you know, Donald Trump's attitude and personality reminds me of a lot of people that I've worked for, have had some association with. That level of elitism, that level of I am the boss is either my way or the highway. And you know, people like that have got to be taken down eventually, because if not, they will continue to destroy more and more people and think it's nothing to do it because they sit on a pedestal and are idolized, and it's sad. It really is sad.
Well, he appeals to a group of people who had been marginalized anyway. I think for a long time, the sad part is our political system had become a place for the wealthy and the elite. Donald Trump is wealthy, but he's not as sophisticated as some of our other politicians have been, and he didn't fit in. So he knew how to appeal to those people who were like him. They didn't fit in. They felt that they should have been able to fit in. And he just says and is willing to do whatever it takes to get his way.
And it's just crazy in many different ways. So listen, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be conducting a 101 interview. This time I won't be interviewing. I'll be the interviewee. I won't be the interviewer. I'll be the interviewee. My good friend, Mr. Chris Bass, has started his own new interview show. It's entitled The Chris Bass Interviews. And the hyphen for that is CBI, which is really cute. And it is conversations with people of all walks of life, getting to know them, what makes them tick, that type of situation. So I'll be doing this with him tomorrow via his Facebook page. I'll send something out tonight and tomorrow to let everybody know to tune in, but it'll be him interviewing me about my life, my career, what makes me tick, all of that great stuff. And he's done a lot of research on me. So yes, the Chris Bass interviews, CBI, tomorrow 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be running it on my Facebook page as well too tomorrow, all of my pages. All right, with that being said, Philip, what else you got going on? You have a birthday coming up soon.
I sure do. October the 12th. The years. Whoever thought, back at 16, you just say to yourself, all I want to do is be 21. Now I'm still saying, all I want to do is be 21.
And all I want to do is marry somebody 27.
No, that's too much.
That's all I want to do is marry me somebody 27. Yes. Keep me young and popping and vibrant. Yes.
like you said, I enjoy myself. I know again and that's how this is how I look at it to help with my anxiety and the things that I deal with personally and struggle with. But I know that as we move through this season, you have to celebrate the milestones. So I will get a cake and celebrate my birthday. I will laugh and talk to people. Everybody else who calls, I'll watch something silly on TV. I'll probably do some loads of laundry. But it's all because I know that one, I deserve it, and two, again, this is a season. I am alive. I'm
Yeah.
grateful to be alive.
Yes.
I'm grateful to be in a place where I can work from home.
Yes.
I am happy that we do have these scientists working on our behalf to make it. So maybe as this season comes to an end, we can learn a lot, and that we won't have to deal with a season quite like this again too soon.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, with that being said, Philip, of course, we're going to celebrate your birthday and have a good time.
All right.
Our next segment this evening, I'm excited to welcome this gentleman to the show. As you guys know, this coming Thursday evening, there's a very special fundraiser for our good friends over at IMD Guest House. That's the Illinois Medical District Guest House, and that's a wonderful facility where people who are going through health issues or their family members are able to have accommodations and not be worried about where will they rest their head while they're going through treatment at any of the hospitals that are over in the medical district. And I am a part of a list of celebrities who are lending our name to raising money for IMD Guest House. And so one of my favorite people here in the city of Chicago, whenever he and I run into each other, it's almost like a brothers reunion, like we brothers from another mother's mother. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like we are brothers from another brother's mother. Yeah, but that's okay. All under the color of black is beautiful. All under the color of love. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chicago's very own veteran actor. This man has probably been in 150 plus films. I know he has. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. And look, they've all been legitimate films. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome my good friend, the one and only Mr. Harold Dennis. Yay!
Hey.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I've been watching and laughing and having fun, listening and learning some new things. It's great. Yeah.
Well, Harold, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here this evening. You and I ran into each other, and we both are on the bill Thursday night for IMD Guest House. And before we get into your illustrious career, let's tell everybody the importance of joining us Thursday night for this benefit. And then let's talk about how Harold Dennis has had staying power all these many years.
Well, let me get a little light on myself. There you go. Well, the importance of the benefit obviously is to raise funds for a very important institution. This place, IMD House, houses families of critically ill patients who are seeking help. And so if you can't afford a place to stay, they will give the family a place to come in and stay, and the patients while they receive the help, even some doctors. And so I think that's a very, especially during this time, it is needed. So everyone should definitely log on and enjoy the fundraiser and participate.
Yes, and Harold, I'm so impressed with the level of people who they have with you and I. Robin Robinson from Good Morning America, George Wentz, Norm from Cheers, and Tim Kazurinsky from Saturday Night Live, and Charles Peanut Tillman, and I mean, and then you and I, and then a cast of other people too.
Yeah, a few years ago, I was fortunate enough to be in a scene with Kazurinsky in a baseball scene. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, Harold, how have you had this staying power of over 20 years? You're born and raised here in Chicago, correct?
Yeah, well, born in Florida, but I've been here since I was 1 year old. So I was born here. Yeah.
All right. Tell us how you've stayed this all around this time.
Well, when I started acting, I decided that I was going to do this the rest of my life. That's because I've had other experiences with the real estate license, selling cars. I used to sell cars at Solozzi, Edelson, Chevrolet, and Elmhurst at York and Roosevelt Road, where you always sell money. I always do that. I used to be out there.
I thought that was you that sold me that clunker. I thought that was you.
I was thinking that same thing, actually.
You sold me a damn lemon, sucker.
Yeah, back in '95, I got myself and two of the other brothers and went to Nick Solozzi and says, we want to take a picture with you so we can promote. And so it was on the back of the Indigo magazine for about 6 months, us standing there with them holding money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was a fun time. But yeah, so when I decided, what happened was I have an aunt, Marion, who just passed the COVID in February down in Florida, and her sister passed the next day. So I went down there in early March for the funeral, masked up because it was still brand new and scary. But Aunt Marion Rowe, she was an actress. She used to do a one-woman show off Broadway and over in the Netherlands and won awards. And I used to hear about that, And so in the back of my mind, I always thought, yeah, I would like to do that, but it's impossible. I don't know anybody in the movies. And so to make a long story short, back in '95, while I was selling cars, I looked up at my high school band teacher. I played trumpet for 4 years. Mr. Watson was in Soul Food. He was in The Fugitive at that time. And he had lines with Harrison Ford. I was like, look at that. Mr. Watson's in the movies. It's not impossible. Then he ended up in Groundhog, Hoodlums, Soul Food. He was Uncle Pete, the old man that came out with the money at the end of the movie. That was my high school band teacher. I was like, I can do it. And so then I started doing extra work, and the next thing I was in class over at ETA. And I beginning in advance back in 1997 there. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I was in class for a school year. And I was like, after that first class, I was like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. And that was September 1997. I've still been doing it. Oh. And I've been in classes for 20 years, and now I teach. And I heard you talking about Second City selling the building. I was like, that is new news to me. I teach acting on camera over there, but during COVID, because it's a hands-on thing, I'm not able to teach. We did it on Zoom at first, but that was more philosophy, teaching acting on camera. It's hands-on because they get a chance to walk away with a copy of the monologue, a two-person scene, and a 12-page script, all within 7 weeks. We do that, and so yeah. And I teach right now. I've been teaching the acting right here on Zoom, for 24 weeks. Yesterday made 24 weeks, and I'll just keep it going and see how that goes. And so I go to the networking parties, the film festivals, the screenings. And so once I said I was going to do this the rest of my life, I just dived in head first.
Yeah.
So, Harold, what have been some of your most memorable roles? I mean, you told me about the horse recently. And so what roles have stuck out in your head more than any of the others?
Well, the one that I always talk about was a film I did, a feature film called Pieces of a Dream, written by Paul Branton and directed by Skeet Skinner. Back in 2004, November, we shot it down in Alton, Illinois. And I went out for the audition. Well, I'll try to tell the story as fast as possible. Robert Townsend had a cattle call back in 2005, 2004. Yeah. And I went, and it was like 100 people in line. I was the last person to go in there and do my monologue. And I did my training day monologue. What now? What you going to do? You going to shoot me? And it was about 50 people in the room, including the other actors who were auditioning in our block. And when I had finished, the place was like, and I was patting me. I was like, I'm trying to be cool, cool. And so my buddy Paul Branton, which I had met years before, was there. And so he told me about an audition for Pieces of a Dream. This was back in May. And he says it'll happen in August. So August came around. It didn't happen. September, October. Then I got the call in November. And I went into the audition down in Act One. Skeet and Paul was sitting there. And Skeet said to me, you got a monologue? I was like, yeah. He says, okay, take all the room you need. And so what I thought about was Paul telling him, you should have seen that training day monologue. And so, and in acting class back in 2004, my teacher was telling me, I did a 5 Easy Pieces monologue after working on the training day. So I sat down and did a 5 Easy Pieces monologue. And my teacher told me, if you do the training day and then do the 5 Easy Pieces back to back, they'll think you can do anything. So that's what I did at this audition in November for Paul and Skeet. I sat down and did 5 Easy Pieces monologue. And they were like, okay, good. And then they gave me the lines, and when I read the lines for the script, the sides, it was for the bad guy Coop, and I was like, I can do this, and so I did it. It says, okay, we'll call you in a week, and so in 1 week, Paul called me and says, we want to offer you the role. We didn't offer you the role as Coop, the bad guy, which I wanted. I says they gave it to another guy that had cornrows, and tattoos, and all of that. And he says, but we want to offer you the title role as Father Shepherd Flockings, the priest. I was like, I had to digest that first. From bad guy to a priest. I was like, why did you offer me that role? And he says, because you reminded me of Forrest Whitaker. And this was 2000. Yeah, I was like, wow, I'd never heard that before. And I heard a lot of things, but I was like, that was a compliment. And so, and we shot it down in Alton over the course of 18 days, and it turned out beautiful. And I felt that was the first film, because I started in 97, that I had something substantial, and whereas I can show the world that I was serious and had skills.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
Harold, what are you working on now? You forever got something going on. I've not seen you selling cars lately. I've not seen you see your trunk of your car. You have been honing your craft even during a pandemic.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, at first we were all scared to go out and huddled up, and then finally somebody was like, well, yeah, come on out and get this pay and shoot this. And so I went out with my mask on, you know, here's my new one, and it says vote.
You know? All right.
All right. That's what we do on this show. We put our mask on. Yes. All right. Yes.
And I got through that scared to death, you know, it's for insurance infomercial. And then, but, you know, people pushed films back. But then I've shot maybe 4 or 5, close to 6 projects in the last month and a half. So, you know, things are coming. Yeah. And so right now I'm sitting up here with about 2 or 3 scripts right here now, looking and planning shoot days. And then I have my own script. I wrote an 11-page script because teaching at Second City, I get to take a class, a term, you know, there. And so I did the intro to screenwriting a year and a half ago. Then I did this screenwriting a year ago. And then during the pandemic, before it broke out, I started the film screenwriting lab. And so at the end of the screenwriting lab, like the last 4 weeks, I came up with an idea of what I really wanted to write. And it was dealing with the Black Lives Matter. So I wrote a short film called Documentary, and hopefully I'll start shooting that at the end of November.
Oh, good. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Script, and it's dealing with this. Yeah.
So what advice?
People were liking it.
You said what now?
And people were liking it. I sent it out to some other filmmakers and producers. It's like whatever I can do to help. So I'm on the right track. Yeah.
You know, I was
getting ready to say, go ahead. Yes.
I've noticed, and I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on this, given what's going on with this pandemic and how difficult it has been to keep fresh content coming in. Are you noticing that the studios are more receptive to works coming from people of color? Because I've noticed some interesting quality things that I've been seeing on Netflix and in various places that have kind of caught me off guard. But I'm just wondering if it's because now that the need for content is there, and also all the social unrest, there's a little bit more circling back to see what we can really do and appreciating our talents.
Absolutely. You know, I really think the studios are looking at different things, because if you're looking at the Lovecraft Country, that is revolutionary, amazing. And and I have a buddy, William Hayashi, that wrote a trilogy called Discovery. It's about Black people being found on the other side of the moon when Neil Armstrong got up there. And I believe the studios are looking at that for sure. And I think he's working on the 7th book in that thing. So this could go on for 10 years. And it's amazing because I've been reading them. And other people, my buddy Chris Adams wrote the Paradigm Gray trilogy, anthology that I'm in. And it's a beautiful thing. And people are looking at that. And so I really think, and with other movies and other TV episodes on series on Netflix and HBO, they're really picking up these things. I mean, there's some momentum. now's the time. Maybe tomorrow won't be, but right now's the time. And then so my buddy L. Arthur Bay, another filmmaker that I'm expecting to jump on, we're going to talk about his series Pear-Shaped, WBLS, and that's a film that he shot, and we shot it over in CineSpace, and it's a short, and it's just me in a car dealing with PTS and the blue lights behind me, and
Wow.
and so it was sent off to the American Black Film Festival last year, and they didn't accept it. But they created a whole different film festival, the Social Justice Now Film Festival. And you've got studios involved. I think Sony tagged onto it, and other people. And I feel like they created that festival just for this film.
All right. That's right. That's good.
Right. Because I got a chance to see it, and it is so poignant. It speaks for the times that we're in right now. So that's why I was excited about you having Mr. Bay on this evening. I just sent him a message too saying we're ready for him, because it really, Harold, I want to get some of your thoughts and opinions on what's going on in our world right now. Most actors and actresses take some type of stance against something that is going on in our country. And so where are you at with COVID, the election season, all of that?
Well, I'll talk about COVID at first. Initially it was scary. I was like, oh my God, I'm staying. I was one of those people that stayed in the house. If I can't do it on the internet, it wasn't going to get done, and so, but then, like I said, I was finally pulled out of the house cautiously. And, but, I'm always wearing a mask, except for if I'm sitting, when I just quit smoking cigars because it's time to quit again. So I stopped. But I'd go sit in the park in my lawn chair with my phone and take my mask off, isolated and smoke that cigar. But then as I'm walking back toward the house, I put the mask back on, because I was scared to walk past people not wearing the mask. And it's so lax today, though. I'm looking, what they're calling it, COVID tiredness or something, whatever they're calling it. But people are not wearing it. And now with the president and his whole team getting it, hopefully eyes are being opened. But I know that there's still people out there that just don't believe that they're going to get it. Not that it's not true, but that they're not going to get it. Right. So I just attempt to be as careful as I can. And with the election, I have to say, I've never watched so much CNN and MSNBC in my life. Oh my God. I just turned it off just now before I jumped on here. I mean, and so I have to look at Fox to see what they're saying too. So, so I feel like I'm well-rounded. And it's just, everything is so political. I mean, I've never seen it like this. And then that debate, I mean, that man, oh my God, it is what it is. And so,
isn't that what he said?
That's what he said. And I like to say, I was saying that before he was. I don't want to let him have that.
Right.
My brother used to say it. I don't want to let him have it. Right. But yeah, it's a lot to digest going on around it. So I'm just keeping it humble and keeping it safe.
Yep.
Philip, anything else you want to add to this?
No, it's great. He's right. We are in the world is an interesting place right now, and it's all playing out in front of most of us because we're at home. So we get to see it on TV, and we haven't missed a moment because it gets stranger and stranger with each day.
Let me ask you this, Harold. For anybody who has a young person that is thinking about going into the world of acting, what are some of the pros and what are some of the cons of being an actor in today's society?
Well, right now, today, people aren't in person so much. So you have the internet. You can invite, a parent can obviously, if the child says, I want to be an actor. Well, the parent can go on Google and find acting classes and set the kid up for a child acting class online and let them see if they really like it. I mean, I'm so happy that I didn't do this as a kid, or as a young adult, because I was everywhere. And who knows if I would have had the staying power that it takes to do this. This really is not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. And so I've been living every day for 23 years, every day. People say, what is your hobby? Well, It's setting up the next audition, setting up the next film. I mean, I like to go out and shoot free throws, but they took the rims down over here on the lake. But I'll go out and shoot basketball. I like to walk the lake. I'll walk from downtown doing something all the way up Lakeshore Drive home. I did it like 32 times last year, and for years I've been doing that. So that's my pastime. I'll have a script in my hand while walking, still studying, so it's for a parent, just find some classes. You can find them in today's society. Just look them up and stick the kid in there and see how they stick.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I guess Mr. Bay must have got caught up, so we'll have to have him on at another time because we're going to run close to us cutting off our show tonight. Harold, what other advice, and then tell everybody how they can find you, follow you, connect with you, all that good stuff on social media.
Okay. My advice is to stay safe. Don't listen to the hype. Don't believe it. And just keep preparing, doing whatever it is that you want to do. Just keep doing it, keep training, keep studying, keep training, keep studying, keep training. And then all of a sudden you get those 10,000 hours, and then all of a sudden you become a professional at what you're doing.
There you go.
And,
yeah. 10,000 hours. That sounds like beauty school to me. That's the same. Isn't that same thing for beauty and barber school? 10,000 hours. Oh my God. But over a course of time, Harold, you've been tried and true. And the thing is you've not changed. So obviously there must be a youth serum in acting, because Harold, you're not getting old at all. And I think that's your secret.
Yeah, it is. It is. I can still play 30, 35 maybe. If I put makeup on.
See, that's what I tell people too. I said, listen, shave this beast down and throw some makeup on me. I guarantee you I can take some years off. I guarantee you I can take some years off.
Don't forget about the Black Harvest Film Festival coming up.
Yeah,
November.
let's talk about that.
Yeah. The Black Harvest. The first time I went to the Black Harvest was in 1999. My buddy Steve Skinner, Pieces of a Dream, where I first met them, had their film playing there, and I went to see it. And I remember sitting in that theater like, wow, I'd like to work with them one day. 5 years later, I run into them. Isn't that something? That's why I remember this story, because when I ran into Paul, I was like, that's the guy that I said I wanted to work with 5 years ago. So I had to be gentle talking to him about his film. And then I ended up getting the title. So I was very gentle. But yeah, and then the Black Harvest, I think I revisited it back in 2005. I got some, after I finished Pieces of a Dream, I felt real good. And so I spent like $175 for the Oscars downtown Chicago at the Gene Siskel Film Center. So I went in there, had my Guinness and my little blazer, and just sat back, and I was at the Oscars downtown. And so then they sent me free tickets to the Black Harvest for 2005. And I was like, what's this? So in August I went, and it was beautiful. And I've been there every year since, and I've had films in that festival almost every year. Like
you have?
Yeah. And one year I had 4. This year I have 2. Wow. And I'm a part of the Black Harvest Community Council for the last 8 years now too. So we're doing some great things, and we're getting videos in from former filmmakers, because it's all virtual this year, and it looks like everything's working out. I was in a meeting today here online, and we were talking about the next steps for preparing for November. Yeah.
Well, you guys are invited to come on and talk to me about Black Harvest. Every year I've hosted a film for Black Harvest for the last couple of years. So I have nothing but love for Black Harvest. We want to remind everyone this coming Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be a part of, and when I say we, the legendary actor, Chicago's very own Mr. Harold Dennis, and I are one or two of many celebrities who will be taking place in raising money for IMD Guest House over in the medical district. And the ticker is along the bottom of the screen, lovewins.givesmart.com. It's Give Back Tuesday. So you guys do what you can to give back and help out Thursday with this fundraiser. Right, Harold?
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's right. You may be the actor, but I'm the boss. Yes.
That's right. And it's free to register. So go ahead and look into it and see if there's something. I'm actually auctioning off a 45-minute one-on-one Zoom workshop. You can stay at home and do it.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So like, would you be able to take me from ghetto fabulous to Elizabethan or something? Like I'm just curious, like, what would this class be like? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can get ghetto in less than 60 seconds, but I'm trying to figure out, like, well, you having me say to be or not to be is the question.
You'll be like, this fellow's of exceeding honesty and knows all qualities with the learned spirit of human dealings. So I can help you get there. Yeah. I always like to say that I could take a person, even if they're on set and an actor's willing to listen to me, from here to here, or sometimes here. It just depends on where their levels are.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Well,
Just
Harold,
like
you
that.
did a great job on this interview. You did a great job. You are a superstar to me. You do a great job as always. And to know you and I are associated with the same event on Thursday is always an honor and a pleasure to be in your company. And so, here we are. Well, congratulations, my brother. Here's to 20 more years. Let's get our bottle of champagne. We have the same bottle of champagne for everybody on the show. Here's to 20 more years of Harold Dennis doing what he does best. Cheers. Salute. Yes.
Cheers.
And then wait, Harold, you can help us do what we do on the show. We have to do safety briefings and demos on the show. So everybody grab your mask. Remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So grab your mask, put your mask on, always wear your mask. Change your mask up. Make sure you guys are washing these masks. A lot of you found out you have halitosis under these masks. So, yeah, very good. Yes, a lot of y'all breath hot as fire, ain't it? Yes, amen. We also want you guys to sanitize, wash your hands. Soap and water is the best thing. If you don't have soap and water available, some hand sanitizer will work. It's murder on your manicure, but at least it'll kill all them cooties off your hands. So make sure you sanitize your hands. Social distance. What does that mean? Step back. Get up off of me. Don't be on me. Stay away from me. And most importantly, what we say on this show, if you're not feeling well, keep your ass in the house. Keep your ass in the house. Right, Harold?
True that. That's 100%.
Exactly.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Chicago's very own actor extraordinaire, the man that just keeps resurfacing in film after film, the legendary Mr. Harold Dennis. Yay! Give it up for him. God bless you, brother. We'll talk. Tell Mr. Bay we want him on because we want to talk about his series. I watched a lot of it.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to him soon. All right. Thank you, brother. Have a good night.
Stay cool.
All right. Well, we made it. We did it. Yep. We made it to the end of another show. We do it just like that. You did a great job tonight, Philip.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And that cause that you're raising money for, I have firsthand experience with that in my daytime job, and I'll say it's a very worthy cause. So
IMD Guest House.
So people can give.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're living in very tough times right now, and there are a lot of people struggling. We just found out that there will not be another round of stimulus checks. There probably won't be any extra extensions to unemployment, any of that. And a lot of us are just having a hard time just staying afloat from day to day. And we appreciate you guys for entertaining and indulging us tonight. It's Give Back Tuesday on this show. No matter what, every week we'll have a different organization, a different group. People are still in need, and we're still humans and humanitarians, and we give what we can. And so I appreciate you guys for that. Philip, in closing, what else you want to say to everybody tonight?
Vote. Don't pass up on an opportunity to let your voice be heard. Scream it out loud. Vote.
Yes, honey, vote. That's all we can keep telling you guys is please vote. Do what's necessary. Do what's right. You have never in a million years seen this kind of stuff going on in a country. And I know everybody talking about, it's time for some change and something different. No, this is lunacy. This is lunacy that you're witnessing firsthand.
And it's affecting people like us. So I'm going to piggyback the vote with, if you haven't filled out your census information, please take a moment and do that also.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. All right. Well, on behalf of my co-host this evening, my good friend, Mr. Philip Montgomery,
Yay.
a Libran who has a birthday coming up very soon. And
Yes.
Philip and I get along very well. He's a Libra. I'm a Scorpio. So that's all we need to say about that. Because
That's it.
one month after his birthday, guess
There
who?
you go.
Guess who has a birthday? So we're trying to figure out a social distance birthday party for me this year.
You do it. If anybody could do it, you will.
I know. Isn't that amazing? A social distance birthday party with me this year. You'll even be able to take selfies and all of that with me. And so we're trying to figure out how to give a wonderful social distance. This is a milestone birthday for me. So, you know.
It is.
Yes,
I tell you, it's a freeing birthday. You will not hesitate to say what you're thinking.
No.
Not that I think you have a problem with that now. But trust me, it'll fly out faster.
I'm so excited for this next chapter. I don't know what to do. So I just thank God he's allowed me to see this next chapter. Yes, amen. Well, Philip, I love you, my friend. I appreciate you so much. Outstanding job as always. Thank you to all of our guests tonight. Lieutenant Colonel Richardson with the Salvation Army Metropolitan Division. Thank you also to Chicago's very own actor, Mr. Harold Dennis. He did an outstanding job tonight. Thank you guys for the feedback. Everybody is giving all kind of kudos and love. Are you doing a double down on this birthday? I might be. We'll see what it is. We'll see. All right, you guys. I love you so very much. Don't get out of here. Stay safe. Stay wonderful. You guys get more about the birthday social distance celebration. Have some people. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow night. Do me a favor. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show on YouTube, Facebook, the Real Chat Daddy Show. Anything you can do to help me with it. Appreciate it. So you guys help me out a lot. I have a lot of great shows coming up in the future. I promise you that. All right. I love you all. Have a great night.